Good morning, everyone. My name is Naomi Piard, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to our Summer Learning Academy, learning about the hand drum. Um, so I have here Jeff Ward, uh, the director, the director of the Member 2 Heritage Park here in Member 2. Before we start, I just wanted to do a few housekeeping notices for you all. So accessibility and language options are available in the top right corner of the event portal, and as well as the chat box. If you don't see it, then you're not in full screen mode. So transition to the full screen mode so that you can utilize the chat box there. And I do want to just this is my first time doing this, so we're sharing a laptop here, me and Jeff. So I'm gonna ask Ian to keep an eye on the chat box, and if there's any questions, to just make note of that, Ian. And as well, at the end of the session, I'm going to ask you to complete back form for this session. I'll just remind you before we come to this session. And as well as you were provided with a email. So at any time, if you're having technical difficulties or issues with your setup, the email address is sla.help@gnespes.ca. And as well as you can go into the public lobby if you have any general questions. Okay, so we're going to start with an opening prayer with Jeff, and as well as a smudging ceremony as well. So I'm just going to hand you off over to Jeff here.
I want to close that one too. So koe medalotio in Deluise and Jeffrey Ward in Delay when Medabanagia down we Mabatu Nige. Good morning, everybody. Walayapsipuk. Walikiskuk Kiskuk. It's a beautiful day out there today. I'm truly honored to be here with you today. As mentioned earlier, I'm the general manager or director of the Member 2 Heritage Park here in Member 2. And I'd like to invite everybody here personally to come to our center. It's a beautiful center. It's a place to learn. It's a place to share. It's a place to meet our elders. It's a place for ceremony. We have a lot of amazing things. We have Canada's largest basket there. It's just amazing. Yeah, the largest basket ever made in Canada is there. It came from Waikagama. Stephen Gugu and his family made that. So it's just beautiful. It's the most amazing thing you ever see. I think it probably holds about 10,000 pairs of socks. With that, also come and shop. Our gift shop is open, and we really rely on local shoppers. So, and because you're in this workshop today, you get 10% off everything in the gift shop. So, we want to start off with the opening prayer, and before we start too, it's important for you to know who I am. I'm originally from Medabanagia, born and raised in a small First Nation community in the middle of New Brunswick, Red Bank First Nation. Before moving here, I was the director of operations, band manager for Red Bank. And then, of course, I met my wife, and she stole my heart, and I fell in love. And she said, "You stay here." And I said, "Okay." And my life got so much better when I learned these two words. Yes, dear. So, and we have 4 successful adult children who are truly amazing. A grandson, 2 granddogs, and 2 cats. So it's important for you to know who I am. And I'll talk more about as we go along. Just want to light this sage, and I want to purify your mind, your body, and your spirit. And when you deal with sage, you could only light one It's good just to one leaf at a time. And what you're doing is you're purifying your mind, your body, and your spirit. And I pray I hear good things. I pray I see good things. I pray I speak good words from my heart to my thoughts and to my spirit. See, this right here is an extension of your spirit, your hair. It's very sacred. So it's important that the only people that can touch your hair and the only person that could braid my hair is my wife. So it's very important. Never touch anybody's hair without permission. It's secret. It's an extension of your spirit. And there's a lot more. I could talk 2 hours just on hair and the studies that they've done with it and tune-up, but I won't. I'll digress. Everything I do and everything I say and present, there's legends, there's stories, there's teachings, there's elder moments, there's learning experience behind it. So, and that's what happens when as we teach and as we're sharing. So, once again, I'm honored to be here, and we're going to start off with a prayer. And one thing that we've been doing too, my mom and us, and some of our elders, we'll just say, we want you to sit. We want people to sit and be connected to the ground. Because before contact, that's what we did. We were connected to Mother Earth. And it's so important to recognize that. So some people will say, you stand, you got to give honor, and everybody stand. And that's true. That's a great teaching, and we know what you're doing, and we honor that too as well. But some elders will say, no, we want you to sit and stay connected to Mother Earth. See, so it's a beautiful teaching, and so we must know who we're with in regards to our who we're praying with and what we're doing. So just sit, relax, and we'll start with this prayer. August utunis kamulali nindalu sinamakonagosid. Jija amit abundamui. Gemmi deda minutes dandel notig nigmasto that mawidanit. Gemmi ded walabek soltig. Nigmasto abundamawi danich. Abundamawi danich and kisuk deli nigasik ula husit amu. Now, this prayer that I just said in my language is also one of the most amazing teachings, and it's why we are here today. And let's start off with a prayer is a song, and a song is a prayer. It's one of the first teachings I've learned. So there's many, when we talk about the drum and we talk about the songs, and we talk about, and we'll get more into this as we go along, that connection, that spiritual connection, that spiritual language. But that prayer that I just said, let us honor the people we are, who we are. Doesn't matter what nation, what color, what creed, what religion. Let's just honor who we are as people. It's like my people, let us unite. Let us come together. Nigama, like that's when we talk about our family. You know, when we end a prayer, we'll say, Imsit Nogama, all my relations. That Imsit, that Nogama, Nigama, Migama. I see where we're going. So all our words are connected. But my people, let us unite. And once again, Gemmi Deda Minute, like it's to honor and respect. Walabek Soltig. Walabek Soltig, if you untie that word, we could be here another 2 days. But let us honor our ancestral lineage, the people, your family, who your family is. Did you know that earlier I said, before I started my prayer, I said, Jija Amich. That Jija Amich, that's it also means your great shadow. The old people took me aside. I said, you know what that word means? And I said, it's ancestors. And they laughed. They said, actually, if you translate that word, it means your great shadow. But when you look at your shadow, that's all your ancestors are with you. 7 generations are with you at all times. So when you look at your shadow, it's a reminder that your shadow is with you, that your ancestors are with you at all times. So that's important to know that. Abunamawi dan etan abunamawi dan gisuk deli igasik. Like, oh, that's hard to bring that all. But let us help one another. Abunamwi, once again, may like or as the way our Creator placed us upon Mother Earth. Sit amu. You know, so that's what we're talking about. And that lesson and that teaching and that prayer talks about, let us honor who we are as people, as Ilnus, as humans. My people, let us unite. Let us honor our lineage, our ancestral lineage. And let us help one another. Help one another as the Creator placed us here on Mother Earth. When we were up in Wasso in heaven, we decided, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go with these people, this is gonna be, I'm gonna come through, it's gonna be my mom, it's gonna be my dad, these are less, and these are the people I'm gonna help. And that's why we're here, to help one another. And when we don't help one another, we tend to repeat. So thank you for allowing me to share that song and that opening prayer. And as we get into our opening prayer, I believe our housekeeping is taken care of.
Yeah, and I'm just going to take over again for 1 more second.
Okay. Okay, we're going back and forth.
Oops. Okay. Thank you, Wulal and Jeff. Thank you so much for that beautiful prayer and an in-depth understanding of the Mi'kmaq Honor Song. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Naomi Piard, and I work with the Nova Scotia Department of Education and Early Childhood Development as the Edo-Optimum lead consultant to White-Sean with the Mi'kmaq Services branch. So I'm from Waigohoma, which is right center in Unama'ki in Cape Breton, beautiful Unama'ki. I've been teaching for several years. A little bit of my background is I'm a song carrier. A lot of the experiences and conversations and things that I've been involved with have always brought me back to song and storytelling. And one of the things as Mi'kmaq people and even non-Indigenous people, when you talk about Mi'kmaq ways of being and knowing, we are all gifts, all children are gifts, and we all possess a gift that we have to offer to one another, to our communities, to other relations. And it's important to know what your gift is and to use it, because the Creator provides everyone with a gift. So with that being said, I'm going to ask Ian if he'd introduce himself. Ian?
Hi, folks. My name is Ian Dussette, and I am the curriculum consultant for the Mi'kmaq Services branch of the Nova Scotia Department of Education and Early Childhood Development. I'm going to be monitoring the chat and trying to answer any questions you may have, but really Jeff and Naomi are going to be the ones that are going to be providing all the information about the drum and the songs and basically all the PD. I'm just here for the moral support and the technical support. So welcome, everybody.
Well, and Ian, thank you. So a little bit with what Jeff said, it's important when we open our meetings and our ceremonies, we use prayers and even songs. Songs are prayers, and as well as smudging. So to begin our meeting with a good mind and a good heart, we ask that our words come from a good place. We ask that we listen with an open heart, and we ask that we see and feel the goodness that is being shared, and we ask that we act in a good way. And one of the main reasons why we decided to go with this session is to encourage our non-Indigenous brothers and sisters to be comfortable and confident going into their workplaces, into their classrooms, into their schools, to share their knowledge of the Mi'kmaq hand drum, and as well as some of our songs. So also, I encourage you, if you have any questions throughout the session, to write it in the chat box, or maybe to write it down, and at the end of the session, we'll provide an opportunity for questions and answers. So thank you very much, and I hope you all enjoy the learning about the Mi'kmaq hand drum session. And I'm just going to pass it back over to Jeff.
Oh, yeah. Hello, everybody. Well, one of the first things, I guess it's so important is to know your teacher, or where your teaching come from. And also, I don't know if we do this every meeting, but I also brought an acknowledgement. But so I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This treaty is covered by treaties of peace and friendship, which the Mi'kmaq, Wolastoq, and Passamaquoddy, Penobscot people first signed with the British Crown in 1725, and then again in 26 in Halifax. But remember that 1725 was first signed. The treaties did not deal with the surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized the Mi'kmaq, Wolastoq, Passamaquoddy, Penobscot title, and established the rules for what was going to be an ongoing relationship between nations. And we must recognize that we are all treaty people. And I mean that because those treaties were written to protect everybody, all nations, all colors, everybody who was here at the time. And there's a reason why it was written the way it was. And that's a whole other story. I could go 4 days on that one. But anyway, I'll digress once again. So once again, it's amazing. I'm just so honored to be here. As a child, like when the Mi'kmaq Honor Song, and this is in your chat. If you didn't download the chat, but it's something that I downloaded and I put it on that website. I was on your site. It's pretty cool. My picture's on there, my bio, and I said, "Oh wow, they need this." It's important for you guys to print that off. There's also a book that he did with Loretta Gould too as well, and it's a beautiful book too. And you can come get it at the Heritage Park. Buy all your stuff at the Heritage Park. Hint, hint, hint. That first line, he said, "I traveled out west to Alberta in 1983." But we got to talk about before 1983, because people don't realize, and they think that the song come from out west. And in a sense, people, you could say that and it could be true, but people forget that before that, because I know, because the other thing is, George Paul is my uncle. That's my mother's brother. My mom is Yvonne, who's the second oldest, and he's the oldest of the boys, and that's my Uncle George. And back in the 80s, before he went out west, and before that first line, because people get caught up on that line and say, "Oh, he went out west, he learned that song." He actually spent a lot of time with all the elders in all our communities. And if you go to your own community, if you're from First Nation community, you talk to some of your traditional older elders, they'll tell you a story about, "Oh yeah, George was here. Yeah, he spent time, or he slept on our couch." And there's a lot of stories that way, because I know as I grew up, I went to a lot of elders and I went to a lot of communities, and our families, our traditional families, are really connected, because you got to realize too, this is shortly after our ceremonies were allowed to be practiced. It was against the law before that. It's right in the Canadian law books that it was against the law for us to do ceremonies. So our drums were taken, our rattles were taken, our pipes were taken. We were thrown in jail for a period of time. And even then, before that, there was a period of time where everything went oral. And that's important to know, because they were taking all our writings. They were taking everything that our hidden scrolls are. They were taking a lot of things. Because when the Jesuits first came over to teach us these prayers, they noticed the kids. And one of them writes about it. Millard writes about it and says, The kids are writing down the prayers as I'm teaching them on birch bark, and he takes them and he says, huh, that's the Lord's prayers. So we had a writing system before contact, but we also, everybody knows this, everybody in history of time, they would put the history in songs. So the songs and our stories and our legends, that once it's being told, it can, it's kind of like the Book of Eli. Remember that one? That's pretty famous. He memorized the Bible. It was truly amazing. And can you imagine memorizing a book that thick and then having the able to write it? Because that's what was happening at times. They would come and they were taking books and stuff, and they realized that. And there was a time that they did that. They did that to a lot of nations and a lot of people. So we knew it was happening. So that's what we did too. We put a lot of stuff in songs, like history went in songs, ceremonies went in songs, a lot of things went in songs. So it's important to know that. And what I wanted to share too was that, like, my Uncle George told me stories about the elders who taught him words and taught him concepts and taught him a lot of things. And I give credit to people like here, Catherine Sorby, who, was a songwriter too as well, and does a lot of great things too as well. And the Denny family, Rita Joe, and I could, if you sat with my Uncle George, he could tell you every house where he stayed and all the legend and all the stories and all the words that were taught. So that's important to know. So, but in 1983, when he did go and have this, was invited to a ceremony where a lot of our elders, it wasn't a lot of our elders, probably people from your community or for local communities, went to this ceremony. I was there. I was just a kid. I was 83. I'm 9. I just aged. Wow. I was 9 years old, and my job was to make sure there was firewood in all the teepees, and I loved it. It was a good job. I was too small to put up teepees, and it was an amazing time. And I didn't even know that this was happening. I didn't know this was one of the most amazing things that were happening, and that would affect my life. And he talks about the ceremonies that he attended, in the ceremonies and the Sundance that he attended, and the visions and the fasting. Now, that's one thing, and that's where a lot of people or our songs come from. When you fast, and as somebody who, I've been a part of ceremonies, like I said, since even before that, 7 or 8, maybe 6, I've been going to ceremonies. I've been surrounded by it all my life. And one thing that you'll learn, that when you go on a vision quest, or when you fast and you go 4 days, 4 nights, no food, no water, and there's many things you fast for. Sometimes it's for medicine, and sometimes it's for song. Sometimes it's to become a drum keeper, to become a keeper of eagle staff, to become knowledge of ceremonies. Personally, I fasted 13 times. I'm not counting. I mean, who's counting? Well, I'm counting. But it's not a competition. But it's just that I needed to at certain times. And part of the ceremony and the family I belong to, one thing that we do when we make that commitment to an ancient ceremony called the Sundance. And it was here, it was with us, but that's a whole other story. Maybe we could do that, a whole other session about that too, because that'll take hours. But we fast in the fall, we fast in the spring, and then we fast while we're dancing. And we do that for 4 years. So that's 12 right there. So every and 13. So 13 would be, I fasted when I was 19, 20, first time. And that was at the Metabonagia at the burial mound. And that was my first. And then I took a break because it's hard. It's not easy, but it's an amazing experience. If you have an opportunity to and you really want to learn, that's what I love about our ceremonies and about Indigenous way and spirituality, is that, I mean, you can't fake it. You're really learning. You're learning who you are, and you're learning what you're about, and the teachings. And at that time, dreams. Bowen is not a bad word. Bowen is actually a beautiful word. It comes from dreamers, but yet they turned Bowen away from us. They made, oh, those are evil wizards. And then also Jamindu, Chikalai Jamindu. I heard that all my life. Chikalai Jamindu. It was like, get out of here, you devil. That's what and then I broke down the word and I started learning my words. It's like Sa'ama, Grand Chief. That in front of that word is great. I said, oh my God, that's great. In Mindu is spirit. Jamindu is oh great spirit. What a beautiful word. And all my life, I thought they were calling me, get out of here, you devil. But my uncle said, no, Jamindu is like something that has power over you. Mindu, it's that all great spirit, all great power. And I said, oh, wow, what a beautiful word. And it comes also the word Jamanitu Manitou, which they say Anishinaabe people, which also breaks down to Manitoba. And Manitoba is where the creator sat. They say the creator sat in Manitoba. There's actually a place. And there's actually a place. They're off by 1 nautical mile, and it's actually right in the middle of North America. And we knew about it. Anyway, that could be another 4-hour session. So full of sessions. Each topic I talk about. What we're here about for? Sons of Member to all their songs they know? No. World tour. With that, the reason why I think it's important to know that I also belong to drumming groups. I had a family drum group called Thunder Eagle Singers. And it was one of the first groups I grew up into. And I got to sit on the big drum. It was a beautiful time, and I learned a lot of songs. We traveled a lot of places, all through Atlantic Canada. Our group actually went to France. I didn't make the cut that day, but happens. I was the youngest at the time. We went through Atlantic Canada, Manitoba. Oh man, they went everywhere. But I was very young at the time. I didn't make the big trips. But as I got older, I became the drum keeper. And actually, at one time when I was University of St. Thomas University in Fredericton, I was actually the drum keeper. My first opportunity to become a drum keeper was at the Fredericton Native Friendship Center. And that's where I got to learn a lot of things. And it's amazing what you'll learn as a drum keeper and get responsibilities. So you guys are all going to be drum keepers too as well. So a couple things when you receive this drum, it's like receiving a baby. This is a beautiful, beautiful spirit. It has a spirit. And you never put the baby down on his face. So here's some protocols. Remember that. You never lay a baby down on his face. You always make sure it's up. So that's important to know. Always make sure that the baby is up. Okay. You want to keep your baby warm, because if you don't, your baby will be flat, or it will tend to do this. And if that happens, and you're like, oh no, something's wrong with my drum, and all the drums that you received were made by me and my son, and they come from the Member 2 Heritage Park, and they all have a lifetime guarantee. As long as I'm alive, I'll guarantee I'll fix them. And then all the rims were made by Ernest Johnson of Eskasoni. And all the hides were prepared by his wife, Mimey. I think it's Mimey, pronouncing it right. Mimey. I think her real name is Sharon. You'll do is, we have like 7 names. It's like, what's their real name? I don't know. I just know her as Auntie. That's funny. I drove a little kid. I picked up my my cousin's little kid and drove him to Member 2. And I guess we got the Member. I said, oh, so where does your gram live? I don't know. I know the house. I said, well, what's your Graham's name? It's just Graham. Good thing I actually knew. I was just testing him. He was about 12 years old too. Still didn't know her name. Happens. But so it's important to keep it warm. I have a drum bag, which is important too as well, and it's kind of lined. So it's nice to have a drum bag. Um, any how you feel would be nice. Now, a lot of people sometimes they put it on their wall for convenience. I have actually, if you came to my house in my room, you'll see 7 drums. Mind you, some of them, one is painted by Alan Syllaboy. It's not moving. It's beautiful, but it's painted and it's my centerpiece. And then it just the drums kind of went around it. I have one with a beautiful another painting my Uncle George did. I have another drum made by Ernest. It's just a beaver hide. Not even. It's amazing. It's up there too. So, but these 7 drums are sacred to me. So they are. We use them and but we keep them in a good way. But be careful where you put your drums too as well. If you put it by a furnace or by a heater, sometimes if people lay it down like this and it's by that furnace, it could get really, really hot. And that's the other thing. So when it's cold, it will like look like it's warm, and then you got to warm it up before you use it. This is actually right in between, right in the middle, that drum. Oh, that's a beautiful sound. So that is important to keep it at that good temperature. So if it gets cold, it's got to do this, and it's got to sound like this. Not even. It's got to be even like a thunk, and you don't want to use it like that because you could break it too as well. Also, if you heat it too much, it will go ping, and it will. And that way too, if you and that's the other thing. And elders and a lot of teachers, especially out west, they'll say never leave it in your car or on your back window of your car because your car changes temperatures pretty fast and your car could get really hot. Now, if I'm going somewhere, I'll put the heater up and I'll put it in the front to heat it up. But just to get that sound again, but I won't leave it there. If you leave it in the car, oh, I've seen some people come out and they'll touch it one and ping and it breaks, snaps. Or I will let you know, I left mine by the fire one time, not realizing, because it was a small fire when I left, though. My argument, it was a small fire, but they loaded it up, and it was a sweat lodge fire, and it got hot, and it just took right off, and I was, nobody saw it where I put it, and it just got heat, and it just right from the bottom, it cracked, and it went up like that, and I was so devastated. So be careful who babysits your babies too. Because I figured, hey guys, come on, my drum was there, and they didn't see it, and they were worried about the fire and stuff. But so these are things you got to learn as you go along. But the other thing is, when you treat this with respect and honor, you could go to so many places. It takes you to so many places. It takes you to so many ceremonies. I've traveled the world just drumming. I went to so many places just singing, sharing a song. In 2017, I believe it was, or 2018, 2017, Sons of Member 2 was, we got to represent Canada at Vimy Ridge. So we're on a world stage, and we got to perform, and we got to sing 2 songs. One song was the Gathering song, and the second song was a song called Hoops, because we had 2 hoop dancers with us. And that song was written by Brian Knockwood of Eastern Eagle, and he shared that song with us. And he said, "Yes, I have a song for you guys to sing, because we needed a hoop song, right?" And that's what we do. We share songs. So that's the other important thing, to know your songs in too as well, because there's many categories of songs. There's songs that I'll sing that are only ceremonial, and I only sing them in ceremony. There's songs like the honor song, they're pretty flexible. You'll hear it at powwows, but you'll hear it at ceremonies. So there's some songs that don't do that. Like they go to a powwow and somebody might be singing a ceremonial song, elders will stop them and say, hey, that's not a song for this area. You got to sing that over here. So there's ceremonial songs and there's songs for powwow. Now, powwows are very beautiful. I love powwows. I grew up going to powwows. You know, there's a part of me that I'm actually emceeing a powwow this weekend coming up in Metabonagia, and then also in Big Cove this year. I'm only doing 2 this year, and I love to MC, and I love powwows because they're intertribal. They're all nations, all colors, and we get to learn about many different things. So it's important to know that. And there are songs that are strictly for fun, and there's songs that we call 49ers. Why 49ers? Because there were 50 men that went in this one community, this one reserve out west. 50 men went off to war. I think it was World War I. And when they came back, 49 come home. And when the 49 come home, they all had a song. And in their song, a lot of them were love songs, and they were round dance songs, and they would sing these songs, and they would have English in them too as well, like "Oh My Darling." I was going to break right into it, but if I sing every song I talk about, we'll be here till Tuesday of next week. I don't want to do that. So, and this is about the Mi'kmaq honor song, but also we want to teach you the etiquette of the drum, which is so important. Okay, very, very important, the etiquette of the drum. One of the very first teachings I learned, and I was taught that in regards to ceremony and use of alcohol and drugs. A lot of our elders and our elders will teach us that. Well, I'll put it this way. I was told one time you can't go down the river in 2 canoes. You're going to get hurt. Because there's the party canoe and then the ceremony canoe. And we don't have nothing against each other. It's just we do things different ways. So if you're on the party canoe, you're partying. And if you're on the sacred canoe and doing ceremonies, you're doing that. But if you're kind of sitting in both canoes, wanting to be in ceremonies and wanting to party, that's where things get dicey and you could get hurt. And I've seen a lot of people, and it affected a lot of people. So one thing that we teach people is that if to be ceremonial and to honor our sacred items, a commitment must be made, or at least wait 4 days that you're no alcohol, no drugs. And I mean abusing that. If you're very abusive in those ways, if you're going to party and stuff like that, at least wait 4 days before you even touch a drum or go to a ceremony. Because as a first aid instructor, yes, I teach first aid. It's Red Cross training partner. So if you need your first aid updated, come to the Member to Heritage Park. Short commercial. And sign up for a course today. You're dehydrated. That's what we call a hangover. You're dehydrated, so we don't want you going to ceremony. The spiritual aspect of it, when you abuse your body or when you're in that mode, your spirit will actually, they say your spirit leaves that body. So, people when they're addicts, they look like they're zombies, that they have no spirit, because that's what our elders have taught us. Yeah, their spirit leaves them. So, and whatever you're doing, it's like making crafts. They say never sew, or they even say that about cooking. Never cook when you're mad, because your feelings go into your food. Never cook, never sew or never do crafts when you're mad or sick, because that goes into what you're making. These beaded, whatever. Or the same with song and spirit. What you're feeling that day, don't put it into that drum, because this is energy. Now we're going to go all scientific on you. True story. A cool true story. I was in the studio, and I believe, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos and TikTok, and I love all the science stuff and all the great stories that are out there and teachings. because there's a lot in affirmations and spirituality, and I'm a big believer of that, and I just love it. And what happens, and I was reading one time, it just came was about spirituality, and it was actually was about spirituality. It was about waves. So we are all on frequencies, and they say about frequencies that there was this doctor, and I should have downloaded this, and maybe next time I'm going to actually download the research and actually show people who the doctor was. But anyway, this doctor came up and he said, look, if you send this frequency at this tumor and this frequency, and you send at the tumor, it actually takes the cancer away. It kind of does this to the tumor, and it kind of does that and takes it away. And that goes with all the sicknesses. So if you come at about 100 frequency and about 800 frequency, it does this. And it's proven science out there. But mind you, it's people like chemo and they go into other areas, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love what doctors do, and if I had to, the doctor said I had to take chemo tomorrow, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it, bring it on. But I also believe in frequencies, and I know if I go to certain ceremonies with my friends and with my family, they've helped me. I've seen them help many people. So based on that story, one day I was in the studio, because I'm that kind of guy, and actually we're doing a VR game for the Member 2 Heritage Park. I got to play Grand Chief Member 2, because he's 6 feet tall, and he's good looking, and he has facial hair. Grand Chief Member 2, and I believe, and I can't prove it yet, but we're going into research. He was from Metabonagia. You won't realize that. He met Cabot on the shores of Miramichi. So anyway, well, that book is coming next. I hope to play him in a movie. So I was in the free, and I was singing a song. I was like, Ego, Igande. No, I wasn't thinking that one. I was thinking, Guando de, Guando de, ya, Guando de, Guando dane, Guando de, Guando de, ya, Guando de, Guando dane. That I love that song, that welcome song, because it gets faster and it starts off slow, and at the end it's like the fourth verse. The first verse is for the elders, second for the leaders, third the young adults or the young teenagers, and then the last verse is the kids, and they're coming in, and it's just amazing. But when I was singing that song, and I said, the guy that was recording us, he's very smart and he's amazing system. I said, what frequency is my drum? He says, like, when I go like this, he goes, hold on, I'll check. And it is tons of computers, and it's amazing. He goes, oh yeah, you're about 100, your frequency at 100. And I said, when I was chanting around the highest point, what's the frequency? He said, just 800, around 800. And I was like, whoa. And I said, wow. So that's the power of our songs right there. It comes in at those frequencies. And it's truly amazing. The other thing, and one thing I teach the kids when I first do a workshop, and I'm surrounded by everybody, and I'll tell the kids, I say, kids, I'll say, do you remember the very first thing you heard in your life? I said, let's think about that. Let's all look and think, what was the first thing I heard? Was it a bird chirping? Was it my dad crying? Saying, oh, you're what? Was it my mom crying? Was it the doctor laughing? What was the very first sound that you heard? And then I'll just slightly hit the drum and it's a heartbeat. So one of the first teachings that we teach people, this drum represents the heartbeat of Mother Earth. It's the heartbeat of Mother Earth. It's the very first sound we've all heard in our life, is your mother's heartbeat. That's the secret ingredients, and that's what I want to teach you today, is how to make ice cubes. my elder says, I'm giving you the recipe on how to make ice cubes. He does that with all the ceremonies he teaches us. But it makes a lot of sense. That's that heartbeat. When you hear that heartbeat, it takes you back to the time when you only knew love. And we talk about love. Love is in the East. Love is that first teaching. The seven sacred teachings, the first teaching is love. Love is the most powerful medicine. Love is the first thing you know. When your mom is carrying you, everybody, they can't wait to see you. They talk funny around you. They treat your mom with love. Everybody loves your mom. Everybody loves it's just love. You're glowing with it. Because she's making a human. She's making you. So this takes you back to that time. So that's one of the sacred beats too, is the round dance. You'll hear that in that round dance song. Hey, guanode, awi guanode. Hey, guanode, awi yo 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 awi yo yo. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat.
Jeff?
Yes.
With the headset on, you can't really hear the drum. You can hear your voice loud and clear, but if you are trying to make it so that people can hear the drum, you might have to unplug the headset or put it close to the microphone, one or the other.
How about now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. So one thing that so that is one of the sacred drum beats or the beats that you'll hear, the round dance or just a strictly now this is strictly Hollywood. I've never heard it in ceremony. I've never seen it anywhere in a powwow, everywhere, anywhere. Maybe it was in a song in the 70s. Maybe in the 60s. But that whole that's all Hollywood. I've never heard it. We do a 2-beat, and there's a chicken scratch. And then there's many sounds that you can make, but that whole Hollywood beat, I've never heard it in ceremony. I'm sorry. So I would be careful when using that, especially around the elders. They will laugh and they'll say, you know, my favorite Indigenous actor too is Burt Reynolds. Oh, that's an important point. Yeah, I'm glad my colleague brought that up because when we hear that beat, we hear the wagons are coming and it's going to be wartime, and that's what they say. It's a wartime, or people were fighting during that time, and that's not really good because it brings back those memories of cowboys and Indians and us fighting in all those movies with John Wayne. Now, John Wayne, I've never really seen his teeth. Have you seen his teeth? Ever see John Wayne's teeth? All those movies, you know, are they fake? Are they real? Some say they're steel. John Wayne's teeth, hey ya. John Wayne's teeth, hey ya. The song. It's a beautiful song, but that's one thing that we don't. So I think that's what happens. So that's the only thing Hollywood has ever brought to us was that cowboys and Indians. They glorified one part, but at the same time they were hunting us, and we were always the bad person, except for Lone Ranger and Tonto. But even then, like Tonto was the wise, but they would make fun of the way he spoke, and they still do it today. So there's a lot of things that people see and people say, like some people will say, "Long time no see." That's very, we got to check our words. People don't realize that. When I sit with my elders, well, that happens. So we want to make sure that we know that. And same when it goes to the songs too, as well. It's important to know where that song come from, who fasted for that song, and if you're going to use that song, like this one, it's given to everybody. The honor song, it's a given. And my uncle has put it out there, and he says everybody can use it and use it in a good way. And even if you're going to record yourself singing it, you have to give credit to where credit is due. And that's the whole copyright law. And he knows that too as well, because he shares that. And there was some artist that did not recognize, and that's important. Now there's older songs that come from people don't know because they come from long ago, like the welcome song, the gathering, not the gathering song, but the welcome song, round dance song, um, ego, friendship song, peace song, which also the peace song is known as treaty song, which is known as the friendship song. The reason why, and then there's people that will say, no, that's a Mohawk song. Well, here's the thing. I'm pro Mi'kmaq. I believe it's a Mi'kmaq song, and I'll teach you it's a Mi'kmaq song. Now, we sang that song when we were going into Mohawk territory. Because when you sing that song, it goes into 4 verses, 4 different things, and it's almost like a call out. Like remember back in the day, they say, "Who goes there?" Because it's foggy, right? And you had to say, "Are you a friend or foe?" Well, we had the same thing when it came to that song, you know. No, wrong song. See, I would have got shot saying the wrong song. But when you're going into a territory and you're canoeing into their area, you want to make sure you're singing the right song, because when you're singing that song, you're coming in peace. Now, we did have a war song, and you'll want to hear that one. I won't sing that one today, and there's kids song, friendship song. There's a married song, marriage, divorce song. There's a hunting song. There's so many songs, and it's important to know that. And depending on what you're doing. Now, back to the teachings of the drum. One thing that you'll notice and you'll see, see if I see my camera right. Okay, there. I use this a lot as a teaching tool. And I'll say, you see, kids, what do you see here? And they'll raise up their hand. I see a cross. Good. I see 4 directions. Excellent. And I said, that's good. Do you know, in order for us to exist, we need 4 elements? 4 elements. Air, water, earth, fire. You take one of those elements away, we cannot exist. Then I tell them, look, we're in this room right now because you're here in a physical body. You have a mind, a brain, some more, some less. Don't look around. You have emotion, a heart, and then you have spirit and faith. There's 4 seasons. Some are short, some are long. Some are, wow, where did summer go? Or some are like, oh my God, summer is like long. And some winters are really long. And it's almost like, oh man, I think I have to go down south to get the summer stick again, like Glooskap did. So, and this happens with your life when you're born and you're a young adult, you're an elder, and then boom, you're back into the spirit world. There's so many 4s we're brought up to. The 4 directions, east, south, west, north. They're all there. So it's more than just an instrument, is what I'm trying to say. It's a teaching. There's so much we could teach. There's so much that we could share. So the other thing too, I think all your drums are pretty tough. The moose hide that we got, sometimes we'll get deer skin, and the deer, it's a little thinner. So you have to, yeah. Oh, so this is what happens. This is a perfect example. I'm glad we have one here today. this is what happens when you use the deer, and sometimes the deer will rip on the sides here and there. That's why I don't like using deer too much. I love deer jerky. And I like white-tailed deer because I wear it on my regalia. But and I like the hides, but I like the hides to wear. I don't like working with the hides to make drums because of this. However, what I love about deer skin, they make beautiful rattles. So here's the other thing. This you might feel, oh, it's broken. And another teaching that we're taught is that because it has a rip and a hole in it, and I'm glad because I might have skipped right over this. I'm glad we saw this. Elders say, do not drum on a drum with a rip or tear, because that drum represents a heartbeat. So if you have a heart that has a hole in it, no, can't do it. But the beautiful thing is you could re-soak this, take it apart, and you can make a beautiful rattle. My God, you can make 4 rattles. 1, 2, 3, 4 rattles. And then you hear the rattles. And the rattles are another beautiful teaching. And that's the next episode or the next wave, are you going to see the rattles are coming back. The rattles are coming back strong. And drums are finally, because remember, it was against the law. They were taking our drums. They were destroying our drums. They were taking away from us. They were throwing them in the fire, whatever they were doing with them. And then what happened was when they took our stuff, we were able to create things and hide them in plain view. So the jigamahan, which is a wooden stick, which I didn't bring with me, I should have. It's like a ash stick, and when you hit it with a hammer, or when you're splitting it to make baskets, then they realize, wait a minute, listen to this. It was just like a rattle. So jigamahans, but we're able to make them and hide them in plain view. So when they came to take our rattles, they wouldn't take our jigamahan. Oh, that's kindling. That's just firewood. Oh, you want to take it? Go ahead. Because then when they left, even if they did take it, 10 minutes later, we'd make another one. It was so easy. But also, and then people say, well, we didn't, some elders will tell you, we did not have hand drums. We didn't have big drums. We had log drums, water drums, and we had, log drums. Well, yeah, we invented log drums because they kept taking our other drums away from us. So once again, when they came to take our stuff, we sat on our water drums because it looked like a stump, and we sat on the log drums. So once again, we were able to hide things in plain view. But this time it tells me the story about the sweat lodge, about the rocks. And that's a really beautiful story too. But I'll just say a quick story about it. 2 brothers were sent to go meet Buffalo Calf Woman, who they knew was bringing the pipe to our people. And when they arrived, the 2 men, one man looked at her and said, oh my God, she's so beautiful, and just wanted to be with her and fell in lust with her. And when that happened, when he fell in lust with her, she took one look at him and turned him into stone. But the other brother saw that she had the pipe and the teachings and saw the beauty within her and treated her with respect and honor. And so he was able to take her to his tribe, and she brought the pipe and the teachings and whatnot. He felt so bad for his brother. He went back and with these other friends or the other brothers, picked him up, even though he was made of stone, and they brought him home. That stone represents the stones that we use in the sweat lodge. So it's like that second chance in life. Even though people make mistakes, there's still a lot of good. And like we know how a sweat lodge can heal so much people and heal us. And everybody has a job. So that's important. But even it's just like this, even though this is ripped, this could now be turned into rattles. Or you could find a smaller rim at the Member 2 Heritage Park. We'll talk about that later. But because that's the other thing. Sometimes the rims, and the other things too, when it comes to drums, what we can put on your drum too is an oil. Now, traditionally we use a bear grease. If you have a friend who knows bear grease or has bear grease, you could use that, or coconut oil. Yeah, coconut oil works really nice, but just put it on lightly and don't trench it, lightly, and then allow it to heat up, because that also it helps it in long. Like, so if you notice that it's getting discolored or you feel that it's getting too tight, I would add some oil at that time. So back to the teachings too. You know, the sacredness of it. I would also make sure that it's also in a nice area. You know, you don't just put it on the floor. It's like how you treat this is the teachings you'll get back. So if you treat this with great honor and respect, you'll get a lot of great honor and respect back.
So Jeff,
Remember that. Yes. Any questions?
yeah, question in the chat. It says the drum that she received has 2 holes in it. The holes look like they were for binding, but were missed. Should I not play this drum? So I don't know if it's holes in the drum head or holes in the side.
Oh, these ones, if they're missed on the side, these ones here, I'm surprised that happened. You know what? I remember that drum now. The holes were in there. I remember now. Yeah, that's my boy. He's learning. No, these ones are okay. Long as there's no rips and holes in this part here, in this main part. But if they just missed a hole that's within that, that's no problem. But I'd like to see that. You know what? I'll make another one and I'll have that replaced. So tell them to send me email, jeffward@member2.ca, and send me a picture. I want to see that. That's pretty cool. And I think it's inside. I kind of remember that drum.
I will do.
I don't remember every single one, but it should be good. Long as there's no holes in this part, and long as there's no cracks that go across. But
okay, they're saying it's in the top, so
like this top, like here, I believe, right? But we'll figure that one out.
Yeah,
we'll figure that one out. Any other questions or anything that I don't want to miss anything? I know we. Yeah.
That's it so far.
Yeah. 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 And if I do sing a song, I'll take this off. So
so there's
I just like presenting with a mic. Well, oh yeah, go ahead. Another 2 questions.
One says, my drum has hints of green along the frame. What causes the green?
Green. I have no idea. I'll be totally honest. Green on the frame. I don't know if that was the marker we were using or whatnot. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Some. Yeah. I'd have to see personally put the hands on them again, because here's the other thing, it's the drying process too as well. There's a drying of or a lot of times things will appear in your drum. And just to share an interesting story, I made this hand drum and I took it to my wife. It was her our anniversary, our birthday gift, or whatever it may be. And I said, honey, this is for you. And I said, whatever you see in this is something that you truly love. And then when it dried, a picture of her cat appeared on it, and it's still there today. And I put our cat, we have a picture of our cat and the drum side by side, and it looks like somebody took the cat and smudged her face right into it. What's the next question?
So Arlene is asking, my drum skin doesn't completely cover the wood. Can I soak the drum and skin and shift the skin for better coverage?
Yeah, that you can do that. I remember that drum too, because we did that. We took it apart. My son made it. I said, no, take it apart. We soaked it again and shifted it over. That's fine if it comes over to here on the side, or even here, as long as there's no hole in the hide. and it shouldn't affect the sound as well too. But yeah, when people look at it and see it, because I have another one at the Heritage Park, because there was two of them that it just happened. It kept moving a certain way, and I was like, And when they dried, I thought it would dry out, but they didn't. They dry in. So that's no problem. We could. I have more hides coming in too. So, but yeah, you can
But if
re-soak.
the hide is over the hoop of the frame, then it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, you won't be laughed at or criticized. You'll be just known as that one. No, it's all good. Trust me, it's all good. One of the things is I tend to keep a lot of sage in my bag. So I'll put sage in there or red cloth. And red, why red? Red is very important. And here I have a black bag, but I usually don't use colors of black. But this is what they sell on the market right now for drum bags is this one here because it has, and I like that. So I said, oh, I'm going to keep this one for the Heritage Park. But that's the Heritage Park bag. Personally, when it comes to colors, that's a whole other teaching too as well. Because the sun rises in the east, it's yellow. We recognize that teaching of the sun. But in the south, I put blue because it represents the water, the cloud. The sky. And then in the west, when the sun sets, it's red, and then the white clouds. So we have the color white clouds in the north. So to us, that's the color. The colors I use for my medicine wheel are right above me each and every single day. Because you see the yellow, you see the red, you see the blue, you see the white. Orange is in there too, as well.
So
pink.
One more question.
Yes, please.
Sarah's asking, the top hide is moose. What's underneath?
Oh, you mean as in the rim?
Could be the rim, could be the ties. I'm not sure.
Oh, in here, it's still moose. The sinew is moose. It's just what you do is when you cut out the hide, you cut out the circle, and then you keep cutting, and it's just a thin cut of the hide. So inside the string, or the sinew, they call it, the sinew, the same as the hide. It's basically cutting the hide at a thin level. So that's what you're doing. So that's what it's moose and moose on moose. And your rims can be anywhere from hardwood to ash to poplar, because I know there's some poplar rims in there. So maybe, and then there was cedar. There was a few cedar, and there was a few maple. So I don't know who got what hoop, but that's all the wood. And we're using all the local wood from our community. So Ernest makes all the hoops from the woods he harvests. What is any better than the other? It's what you prefer. I like cedar because it's lighter than the other ones, but it's not as strong. It's strong. And I like cedar because it's flexible, but this ash and whatnot are really good too, and the maple are really good too. They're just a little stronger, and they're just a little better that way too as well. So that's the other part of that. And then you teach the children about the cycle of life and the circle. We live on a big circle. His grandmother moon is in the circle. The sun is in the circle, And if you believe that the world is flat, well, there you go. The world is flat. The teacher is there. We all live here. And then there's so much teachings that come with it. And there's the teachings of the big drum and the little drum. And there's a reason why the men will sit around the big drum. It's because the women will stand behind them and protect them and watch them over them and protect them. And also because we have to honor the women. That's why a lot of men do ceremony. Women have joined us today to help us and guide us, but they necessarily do not have to, because a woman is in ceremony already. You're in ceremony and you're a life giver. We don't give life. So men, the reason why we do ceremony and the reason why I sun dance, the pain that we feel when we pierce. Doesn't even come close to the pain a woman goes through when she gives birth. But a woman makes that commitment. So we have to honor her. So we go into the sweat lodge, we pray, we go through. A woman naturally goes through ceremony every 28 days. I've heard my wife say this, my mom say these teachings, and I will never tell a woman what to do or how a ceremony should be done. No, I believe men should work with men and women work with women. And we honestly believe that, and we live by that because we don't want any confusion. Because a man only knows a man's world. Now, my job is to protect. And back to the word abit and genum. Genum doesn't also just mean man, but that in front of that genum, be the best man you can. But genum also means this: you canoe. You sit in the front of the canoe. You sit in the front. Abit is not just woman, but abit, to sit. But also she sits in the back and guides us away from danger and guides us to where we're going to live and where we're going. That's a woman's role, is to protect us and guide us. Our job is just to drive. So it's just like today in society, we drive and you tell us where to go. So I've learned that, and my life got so much better. That's another, yes. So children will also, they'll want to bang and they'll want to do this and they'll say, oh, I'll go like this, and they'll grab anything and hit it. It's like, wow, whoa, that's awesome. But hey, here's how you use it. And here's the lesson. And if they just go, say, oh, okay, that's nice. Oh, that's cool. But let's try this. And it's a great opportunity to teach them and teach them that respect. Say, hey, it's like a baby. Remember, this is your baby. Everybody take your baby, respect, and add the teachings with it. So it's a great opportunity. It's a great way to teach and to share in that sacredness. And then you'll see that. You'll see some people, they'll come in, their drum is wrapped around and in another thing. And it's like, wow, they're really learning it. And there's some that just walk in like this and, oh, yeah, oh, hold on. And it's like, so you'll see where they're at in regards to learning their sacredness. And the drum too is very sacred in regards to that. So just remember that sacredness with the drum. Now, some people just take it and put it up on their wall, just fine, long as it's in a safe spot. But it's nice if it has a case, and it goes in its case, and it should be up high too as well. That's a nice spot where it's up high. And also make sure, or if it's on the top shelf, that it's in a spot where it won't hurt. Nobody will eat it. Yeah, I've heard stories where their animal ate their drum. My dog ate my homework. This happens. So yeah, my dogs don't like this at all, because when I hit that, we're like, whoa, I don't know what that is, but keep that away from me. And they don't like that. So some animals like it, some don't. My cats, they take off. They don't like it either. But I think they kind of know what's up. But they're also very spiritual, and they don't need ceremony. We need ceremony because we're humans and we need to learn.
So, did you want to maybe do the honors song?
Okay.
And then also invite the participants to
Okay, yeah. Did you guys turn this off?
Can you guys still hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So I wonder if everybody has their drum. And what we can do is we can do a song, but I have to wait 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Or will that even work?
It'll work.
There's a 10-second delay.
Yeah, they'll hear it, but it won't be in real time. You're not gonna, you won't get that feedback.
So yeah, we're gonna try something. You're gonna hear the song. I'll let everybody get their drums, get them ready, and even just take your drumstick. And look, I have a drumstick just like you guys, blue. And these drumsticks were made by a local drummer. That's one of the best singers in Atlantic Canada. So makes a lot of these drumsticks. So it's amazing. Or also an elder, Lawrence Wells, makes them too as well. So that's from the Wells family. So you're getting some really good product here. I wouldn't call it product, but it's really good stuff. So you'll hear this a lot in elder, or somebody will start off and they'll do the 4 beats. And when you hear that in a song, these are what we call the honor beats. So what we're doing is I'm sending a message to all 4 directions. I'm asking the spirits, come join us. So that's what that 4 beats is. And that when you hear somebody singing a song, the lead singer, in this case it'll be me, will sing. And then when you hear that honor beats, only the lead singer does it. So when you hear that honor beats, you just kind of keep on with what you're doing. So just remember that. You comfy here. Tahoe. In our language, we say Tahoe, which means sounds good. Hallelujah. Yeehaw.
Good song.
Good song. Yeehaw. Yeehaw. Studied your people in social studies, Covered wagons. And we raise our left hand. Tahoe. So that's important to know. Once again, it's an honor. It's an honor. No pun intended. It's an honor to teach the honor song and the teachings. How much time do we have?
It is 25 minutes after.
So we're going to 11:30.
Well, if you want to be done for 11:30, that's fine. We have until 12.
Oh, we're good. Oh, hey, let's do some more songs. Any more requests? That's what I want to know. So any questions? Any questions? Because I could go on. I could sing all day, all night.
So maybe what you could maybe provide.
Just a question? No.
Maybe encouragement or some comforting words for a non-Indigenous person who's going to go back to their school, to their region.
Yes. Oh my
with
God.
with this drum.
I have to tell you a story too as well. That's so important to me that people don't, because people will say, why do you have a drum? And who gave you the right? And where did you learn that song? And you shouldn't be singing that. And we get that. So people, you shouldn't be doing this. And I've experienced it too personally. Somebody come to me and say, how come who's doing this? And who taught you that? And you shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, well, this is where I learned it, and this is what I do. And once I teach them and share with them where I got my teachings and what I'm doing, they're like, oh, okay. Oh, all right then. Oh, good. Now I know. And when I need you, I'm gonna go to you, and and they come to me for ceremonies, which is awesome. So one thing I want to share is that when there was a time when I was learning, and I was about 15 or 14, and I was already traveling, and I was doing a lot of powwows and a lot of ceremonies, and I learned to make a sweat lodge, and I was the helper because I had 3 uncles that were, I said 3, I have 4. I have 4 uncles, but 3 were pipe carriers. My mom's a pipe carrier too. So I learned at a young age how to pick and the proper rocks for sweat lodges, how to make sweat lodges and whatnot, and drum etiquette and setting up the drum and doing all of this. So at this time, there was a time too where a woman, and I won't say her name because I never asked her if I could share her name, but she actually moved back to England, and she's non-native, but she taught me, she's plus 7, maybe 12 songs, a dozen songs she taught me. The Mohawk love song, she taught me these just a bunch of songs that were Maliseet songs, Mohawk songs, and just a few other like The Longest Walk and whatnot. And these songs that are just amazing songs that I carry now and I use in different times and different ceremonies. And then I met the elder that she learned it from. And there's a lot of great elders, and another great elder to learn from is Maggie Paul. And Maggie Paul of St. Mary's is just amazing. She's an amazing elder, teacher. She has, if you get her CD, unreal. It's amazing. And I've had her CD, but I keep lending it, giving it away, and lending, never see it again. But she's a great teacher, and she's up the Dussette River. And I went to Maggie and I said, you know what? I learned all these songs and they came from you, but I learned them through this person. And we laughed. And she thought that was so amazing. So what you're doing is you're saying, look, I'm teaching you this song from George Paul, or maybe there's other songs from elders in your area to a child, and then children will go to the elders and learn. So you are creating that bridge, that asagump, that's to cross over. There's that word, and that's what we talk about, even that word 6. Like, the word 6, asagump, means to cross over. And if you break that word, it's longer, and it means to bridge. But that's what you're doing as a teacher. You're bridging that gap, allowing that student to get to that teacher, to that elder, or to more knowledge. So yes, you may feel criticism from people, but it's important for you that you can teach them in a good way. But just remember your etiquette too as well. And then you could use my name, and I put it out there. Yeah, I've taught them. Yes, I teach this. But there might be a full, I might have to say, they did what? And I might have to go back to you and say, you did what? Is this true? So, and I would follow up with you to say, well, okay, that's all. But there's other songs that you can teach, like the friendship song, which is a beautiful song. Yue Hai, it's called. It's very easy to learn. It's very phonetically easy, and you can teach the kids this. And it's funny because when I went out west, actually, I went to San Francisco to sing full regalia, and the people out west said, "I want to teach you this song. It's a Mi'kmaq song. It's called the friendship song." And I laughed very well. I knew what song we were to sing, and they got on stage and they sang, "Yue Hai, Yue Hai." And I was like laughing. I said, "No, that's a Cree song. That comes from out west. That's your guys' song. That's a friendship song. And we both laughed, and I said, that's where I learned it. And they're like, no, it's a Mi'kmaq song. Because the Mi'kmaq taught us this song. And it was funny. And so I went to my Uncle George and said, this is what happened. And I explained the whole story. He laughed. He said, actually, you're both wrong. Actually, you're both right, because you guys learned it that way. But you're wrong. I mean, the other part is that it's actually a Cherokee's children's song. And it's a song that we use we would teach kids how to drum and how etiquette and the teaching. So Yue Haya was a children's song. And there's actually another verse to it, that song that people don't know that we got to learn. But the first part of that song, that Yue Haya, and there's other songs too.
So Jeff, just a couple of questions are in the chat there. First one's from Kimberly, and she says, should the drum only be used to accompany Mi'kmaq songs and chants? For example, I work for a United Church where our hymnal has Indigenous music from other parts of Canada. Would it be appropriate to use this hand drum to accompany those songs?
If they're Indigenous songs, I'm sure, yeah. Indigenous,
Okay.
and don't separate Mi'kmaq from Maliseet. Like, we're all Indigenous, and yeah, they come from us. We're Mi'kmaq. It's the same.
Okay. The other question is from Arlene, and she wants to know if you could play the honor song again so that they could play along.
Oh yeah, I thought that's what we were doing. Yeah, for sure. We will do it again. I just want to check something here. I want to make sure I got no messages. And actually, I wanted to get a drink of water. So.
Or did you want to go and I can?
Yeah, she could
Music.
talk about a few things, and then I will get
I
some
know
water.
that sometimes with teachings too, that using somebody else's hand drum,
Oh,
it's not, that's okay. That's okay. Hi, everyone. I'm just sitting here, and I've grown up around the hand drum as well, and around traditional teachings, and there's still so much opportunity for me to learn from Jeff. And it's the journey of a lifelong learner, and I am Mi'kmaq, and I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm still walking this path, learning about the traditional knowledges and ways of being and knowing. So I also just want to encourage you not to feel intimidated when, going back into your region, going back into your schools with this hand drum. It's a beautiful instrument that, we want to help bring communities together. And I know a lot of you are not Indigenous, and so as Jeff mentioned, as long as your heart is in the right place, and that you come from a place of love, then you're doing the right thing. So one of the things I just wanted to mention is that what my position will provide and provide to each of you, hopefully by October, is that I'm going to record some Mi'kmaq songs and chants, and as well as other Indigenous songs, along with the phonetical spelling, the breakdown, which would help you and make you feel more confident and comfortable going back into the classroom, and sharing the teachings of the hand drum, and also some of the songs that we have. So I'm just going to share one of the songs, and as a song carrier, songs come into your life, and they become part of you. And one of the teachings that I had was about greed, and a lot of our songs, Mi'kmaq songs, and as well as Indigenous songs, some have physical words, some have the chants, which are not specifically words. It's just that communication piece that happens between you and the spirits. And this one teaching that came across my path was the Crow song. And, a lot of our songs connect to storytelling and to teach lessons. And in this specific, particular song, the Crow song, there's different variations. And again, as Jeff mentioned, when you go to different elders in different communities, each has their difference in their beliefs, and not either one is wrong or right. Again, we all come from different backgrounds, experiences, stories, and experiences with the elders and our leaders. And again, just to be respectful of one another and what they're bringing to the table. So the Crow song came to me, and I really fell in love with it because it taught about greed. And in this story, again, like I mentioned, there's different variations, but the one that I'm going to share is the variation that was taught to me. So the crow was very greedy, and rather than looking after its own nest, then the crow would go over the hill, and he would be making a lot of nests everywhere because he wanted to impress the other female crows, right? And so what happened with the crow kept making more and more nests and became very tired and weak, and he ended up dying because he worked so hard. So this song is about the crow, and about not being greedy. The Crow song. The whole good song. Yeah, so that was a song that came to me as well. And again, Jeff has talked about opportunity, and when you share teachings of Mi'kmaq songs and storytelling, the places that it takes you is just incredible. A couple of years ago, I had an opportunity to go on tour with Mayor J. Lamond, and that was part of Canada's 150 celebration. So that was, that was an opportunity to revisit Helen Creighton's song collection, because Helen Creighton was a woman, who went into Mi'kmaq communities, Acadian communities, African Nova Scotian communities, and Gael communities to record the songs of the elders and of communities. So those recordings were collected are at the Nova Scotia archives. So that opportunity brought back that Crow song, and also as Jeff had mentioned, the Hunting song, and the Mi'kmaq lullaby song. There's just so many songs that are out there that are available to us. So I just wanted to just share that with you, and this is a learning opportunity for you, and this is a path that you're now welcome to walk. And just to keep in mind, as Jeff mentioned, as long as your intentions are good and you're coming from a place of love, that you can't do a disservice to the work that you're trying to bring in bringing the hand drum and the teachings into your classrooms and into your regional schools. So I just wanted to share that, and I'm just going to hand it back to Jeff just to see if there's any lingering questions that anyone had, because we have about 20 minutes left. Lalio, thank you. And here's Jeff. So I think one of them said that they wanted the opportunity to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll call you later, but
To do
Sorry,
the-
that was my line, my second phone.
to do the honor song and then invite them to participate.
Can't have fun. Can't have fun. Can't have fun. But that's important. I've learned so much, and I've had such great times with drumming and with singing and with teachings, and it's so there is this honorable time and sacred time, but also we laugh a lot too. So it's important that we laugh and even songs. There's a song. Oh my God, I have like 1,000 songs in my head. So honor song is really fun because it teaches. It's that point that everybody knows is sung across the world. And the other songs that we share. There's so many songs. One of my favorites is Rabbit Song. Rabbit Song is fun, and also the Owl Song, and there's the Snake Dance. Oh, love that one. And then it goes, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. And it's fun. People are dancing and they're in a circle like a conga line, but they're dancing like the front. And it's just so much fun. There's a two-step song, round dance song. Oh, it just makes me want to go have powwow right now. So anyway, but one of my favorite songs growing up was like I said earlier, Yue Haya. And it's one of the first songs I think almost everybody learns because it's Yue Haya. It's 4 syllables. And it goes Yue Haya, Yue Haya, Yue Haya, Yue Haya. Awe Haya, Hayo, Owe Haya, Heyo, Ayue Haya. Wehaya, wehaya, yo. Even learning that wehaya at the end, you can sing about 60% of the songs that are out there. A lot of songs will end that way. So it's important that we put that out there. So now, honor song. And I have to wait till everybody's ready and everybody has their drum. And I'm going to wait 10 seconds. 6, 7, 8. One of the biggest teachings, what you can tell kids, is follow my beat. One thing you're going to find with the kids, they grab a drum and then they're like, and we did a song the other day. We did the honor song down at the Big Fiddle, and it was a beautiful day. It was Canada Day, which we turned into Orange Shirt Day, which was amazing. It was beautiful. We had about 2,000, if not 3,000 people that joined us in a parade, not a parade, but a walk of recognition, of to recognize and to bring light to what's happening in the world today with the unmarked graves, which we're above 3,000 now. I think some elders will say it's 25,000. I did quick math. I said they'll find 25,000. Some elders said they might find 50,000. So, but when we were down at the Big Fiddle and we sang the honor song, and my mom, who was a survivor, and a few other elders, Lulan and Daryl Bernard and Sharon, they were drumming, and then us, sons of member to me, Graham and David, the Muse brothers, Billy Joe Muse and David Muse, who drummed all our lives too as well. And then we had the 4 or 5 young kids from grades 4 and 5, and they had their hand drums. And it was the most beautiful thing. But what happens is you'll see the elders, they'll be drumming, and then you'll see us, and then you'll see the little ones. And that's what happens. It's beautiful. But what I'm trying to do here at Member 2 is kind of create our own choir and our own drumming, bring us together.
So Jeff, when you It's Ian. One of the questions just before you start your song in the chat is just if you could wait before you start or as you're playing, if you could show how your hand holds the drum and maybe just explain why it's facing you when you play it.
That's a good question. And it depends on the drum that you get. I tend to sometimes like this, but it's up to you how you feel is comfortable. You can grab it like this, or like this, or like this. It's totally up to you, how you feel comfortable. But to me, it faces you, or you know what? It's funny because I face like it's like this. Like I know I could drum on it and you could hear it, but it doesn't face me per se. It could, but you're going to feel that power. Sometimes we even face the person, or we face the crowd. So that's also, and that's what you're sending. You're sending that energy. You're sending that teaching, and it's a sound thing. It's a vibration thing, right? Because this is generating kind of like the Care Bear stare. That's why the bears go like that when they look at you in the Care Bear. Yes, I watched Care Bears too. But and then sometimes it's really cool because we actually made drums one time that had really cool antlers and really cool handles. But we found out that they all broke because what happens, there's so much energy in here you don't realize it, and eventually it goes. And I've never seen a handle yet. So that's why I always go with this. Now you could design handles in there, and if you have big ones. I try to put a ball right in the middle. If I had more sinew and extra time, I'd actually put a comfortable ball right in there. But it's how you feel it's comfortable to you. But I tend to want to put the drum towards the people. So.
Okay, sorry, so there's 15 minutes left. So if you want to do the song and then maybe do it nice and slow,
okay.
One round, and then we can do questions and then we can do a close.
Okay, perfect. Now, it's when you do sing that song or a lot of songs, the best practice would be sing 4 verses, the 4 directions. I know I just sang only 2 verses, but it's just for teaching purposes. And I will sing the other 2 when I go back to my office. But remember that And if you're, even if you just had 15 minutes and the bell rings and everybody leaves, it's important not to just stop the song. And like I said earlier, what I'm going to do the other two verses when I go back to my office, or when I go to the Heritage Park. I will do that. I did sing to all your drums, and I addressed the spirit of your drum, and I sang them a couple songs. So that's important, and that's what I do. I address the spirit of your drums, and I woke them, because there is a ceremony that people will talk about, waking of the drum, the ceremony of the drum, because there is a ceremony of that too. So it's a matter of addressing that spirit, and I've done that as a pipe carrier. I got to do that, and that's what I do when I make them. And I smudged them all. They were smudged. They were smudged a couple of times. Smudged them while I was making them too, because man, they were stinky. And yeah, any questions? Is there any other questions? Ian?
Yeah, there's a question that says, is the best place to store the drumstick under the drum, in the weaving, like in the sinew?
Yeah, you know why? Because you'll know where it is. That's the only reason I put my stick in there, because then I'll never lose my drumstick. Because you know how many drumsticks I've lost? A million. If I had $1 for every drumstick I lost, I'd have a good pension now. I'd be pensioned off. I'm telling you. But yeah, that's a good place for it. Because then there it is. You'll know where it is. Actually, I'll actually put my medicines in here sometimes too, and even my smudge bowls. I'll put all the stuff in here as I'm going places. So, and that way you just don't know. You know where they are. You keep it. Now it'd be nice if you wrapped everything and put it in together. So, I mean, it all depends on how much you use it too, right? But taking care of them is the best teaching I could pass on.
You're all set, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this off for them, and so they have everything that you shared. Yeah. They'll have it.
And the other thing I want to add to about colors in the medicine wheel is a quick teaching that the reason why I don't use black in my medicine wheel is because black is used for death ceremonies, or when somebody's going to war, or when somebody's in mourning. When you're mourning, you wear black, right? The widow wears black. It's for protection. So I don't put that in my medicine wheel. And I know people say the medicine wheels represents the 4 colors of man. I'm like, wow, you shouldn't say man. I wouldn't use the term man, or people, but also I don't want to put us just into 4 colors anymore, because my red nation is many nations. And when you're just saying, or when somebody says you're just white, you're no longer French, you're no longer Irish, English, Scottish. There's so many Jewish, there's so many races, there's so many history, your lineage. So that song we talked about is honor our lineage. So I don't want to put us into 4 categories. And when we look at colors, there's the colors of the rainbow. There's 7. The 7 sacred colors. So we got to honor those 7 sacred colors. They go with our 7 sacred teachings. And if you want to learn more, I do a whole presentation, a whole workshop just on teachings in the 7 directions and the 7 colors. So book me now for your class. Come in live through Zoom or through this. Now I'm loaded on this system. However, I don't know why it didn't work at my office, but it happens. It happens. But hopefully we could keep doing stuff like this. So that's the reason why the color schemes, and some people, and I know some people, well, it's out there, people are doing it, and some others, that's fine. There's some people that will believe and teach that for a reason. But it's once you go deeper into spirituality or deeper into teachings, you'll see the other meanings behind it. And you'll say, oh, that's why when I go to ceremony, I see those colors. And that's why when I see posters on the wall, I see those colors. And I know those colors or talk about inclusivity, but are we really being inclusive if we're now just putting people in the 4 colors? We went from 1 to 4, but really, are there only 4? I think there's many more. And I always tell people, when people say, oh, I don't see color. I say, well, get your eyes checked. You're colorblind. Because I see many different colors. And people share colors. And they come from different colors. So, you know, that 4 direction, that 4 colors, where you stand, you know, like, my God, where would you stand? It kind of confuses people. So we have to make sure we honor all nations, all colors. So when we use our medicine wheel represents Mother Earth. It doesn't represent people, it represents Earth. So we got to represent Mother Earth in a good way. Just like our holidays, it should be about Mother Earth. It shouldn't be about people. Mm-hmm. And once we learn that, we share that in a good way, we'll be better off. Because like I said, my medicine wheel is above me every day when I look up at the sky. Today it's gray, but tomorrow it might be sunny again. Above those clouds, though. My medicine wheel is above these clouds.
So Jeff, I think that we're about to get cut off because I know that the stream has a 2-hour time limit on it, and I'm afraid it's going to shut off. So a couple of housekeeping things. I put your email address and the Member to Heritage Park website in the chat. It's also on your bio. So if anyone has any issues with their drums, they can contact you, or if they're looking for a speaker, they can contact you. So they have all of your information. I see that Ardith is here. So if Ardith has anything that she would like to add, go ahead, my friend.
Thank you. Jeff, it's so wonderful to see you again in person or through virtual ways. And I just wanted to, on behalf of our division at the Department of Education, what a fantastic session. You're such a storyteller, and you've just given us so many teachings today, and with humor, respect, warmth, and such a genuineness in your delivery. I can see why people love taking sessions from you, and I really am interested in your 7 sacred teaching sessions. So hopefully we can make something happen with there. I really appreciated today, certainly having another look through at the drumming with you, but I really enjoyed the medicine wheel teachings that you just gave us at the end, and it gives me a lot to think about. And I also want to thank Naomi for sharing the pro song that she shared with us, and I know she has many other songs to share as well. Ian, thanks for hosting and monitoring the chat. This was a great team effort, really appreciate it. And most of all, to the attendees, thank you for signing up and taking this session. And now you have this beautiful drum spearheaded the making by Jeff, and I'm so happy to hear that your son was involved in making these drums too. It's wonderful tradition and passing that skill and expertise and teaching along. You asked great questions, attendees. We really appreciate that you came, and we hope to have another chance to work with you in the future. Thanks so much.
And I would just like to thank Ardith for all of the work that she put in getting the session up and running and making sure that you all got the drums, because without Ardith, we wouldn't have had the money to pay for them. So thank you very much, Ardith.
Awesome. It's wonderful.
Awesome. Now
see you, everyone.
Our awkward, always there's an awkward goodbye. Everybody says bye, and everybody's looking for the button.
Nobody wants it to end, Jeff. That's the thing. We don't want it to end. We love our time with you. Thanks again. Bye. See you, Ian.
Bye.
See you, Naomi.
See you.
Bye, everyone.